Good.
Alright, all clear.
Okay, guys, welcome to another episode of Deep Culture Podcast. I know what you guys are thinking. I'm not him. Okay, but of course, what is Deep Culture Podcast without Fadli, right? So we have the man of the hour, the man behind the scenes, right here with me, right next to me. How you doing, bro?
Hey, I'm good, bro.
Hey,
Thanks for the introduction for that.
Hey, of course. So, how's things been?
Hey,
How long have I not seen you?
bro, since before Circuit Breaker, I guess. It's been a while, it's been a long time.
Circuit breaker has been going on for a very long time.
And it's been pretty tough, because I think, ever since Circuit Breaker, I got pulled in to do a part-time job in the logistics line.
Nice.
And
Men's moving thing right now.
yeah. But so it's been tough because it's a whole transition and it's about, balancing between doing this podcast and having to do the part-time job, which I'm hoping to also do full-time, hopefully.
Okay. So, this part-time job, is it like recently you started or?
Yeah, only since the Circuit Breaker because some of the employees had to go back to Malaysia.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had to just kind of fill in the logistics, the operations part of it.
Okay. Alright, so you heard the man. If you got things to move, just hit him up.
Yeah. If you got dangerous goods, you know what I mean?
Yeah, dangerous, not illegal. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Thanks for clarifying that.
No, you gotta let them know, because you gotta let them know.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's cool. It's interesting.
So-
Today's episode is special. It's different.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Instead of Fadli asking the questions, okay, it's me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask the questions. Okay, we're gonna find out a little bit more. In fact, a lot more about you. Things that these people already know. Things that these people still have no idea about.
Right.
Hopefully you get some juicy facts. Okay, and we have a segment later. You know what? Just keep it a surprise.
Okay. Yeah, sure. I think some of them know, but
Oh,
we'll keep it to the end. No worries.
probably. So what's the point of a surprise then? Okay, so
Yeah.
before I begin, I think maybe you want to share a bit more about yourself. What do you do, and what is your background?
Okay.
Just tell us a bit more about yourself.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so a bit of a background story about me is, where do I begin?
From the start.
This
I mean, bro.
this is tough being here in the guest seat.
Yeah,
But,
now you know how we feel.
Yeah, I mean, what? Okay, so I think I'll start off since I started working. I began my working career as a consultant.
Mm-hmm.
So I was doing consultant work I was a profiling consultant. Basically, it means that I help profile people.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's the right term to use, but I do profiles for them. And then I help them to understand the profile so they understand a little bit more about themselves, their behaviors, their traits, what their character is
a
like.
bit more of is it related to DICS?
DISC, yeah.
DISC, yes.
Yeah.
And RAZAC and all that, right?
Yeah, so there's a whole array of profilings out there. And
Okay.
I think I was lucky because we're at the age of 20. I was taken in by Philip Mary, who has his own consultant business. And I got taken in by how profiling works and how it can help people.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote a blog about it, so if you guys want to find out more, you can read
Promoting his blog,
that blog. Yeah,
so
plugging there
go and read up, people. What are you waiting for?
at inspireyoutoo.com. Okay,
That's
Yeah.
right.
But basically, I was inspired by how it helps to transform people's lives, even something as simple as profiling, And so because of that, it got me. At that point, I already started liking I liked the idea of understanding people.
Okay, and you liked it even more.
I liked it even more. actually,
Okay.
yeah. Because it was a tool that helped me do that, to understand people's personalities, people's psychology. And from there, I got accredited in one of the profiling tools called Belbin.
Okay.
Which is essentially it's a team profiling tool. So to help teams understand what are their dynamics and what their strengths, their weaknesses. But at the same time, it was also a tool that could help an individual develop an individual self-development. That's what they call it, right? So it was something that was totally new, and because I got accredited it at the age of 20, I became the youngest in the world doing that.
Damn, boy.
Humble bragging, but
But I mean, on a like it's not easy. I mean, or rather, someone who was probably at your age at that point of time might not have too much of interest in things like this. Like they probably want to pursue other things. Like it's not very common to see someone of your age group at that point of time. Usually you're 20, right? You're
20,
saying,
yeah.
yeah. It's not common. So, yeah, I. What actually got you at that point of time to think of this as something that you wanna pursue in?
It's a good question, man. I think for me, it's just I feel like I don't want to be. I have this need to try and explore things and do things that are not. I just didn't like the idea of having to do the normal 8 to 5 jobs and the normal jobs. I have nothing against those jobs, but I found that it didn't quite work for me. So at that point, something like consulting and doing profiling was something that was totally different.
Okay.
Like you had psychology, and psychology became counselors, and it's somewhere along those fields, but this is different because it's profiling, right? And it still does its job in helping people. And I thought like, okay, this is something that not many people are doing, so this could be something that I could try and explore. So, and plus the fact that, I already enjoyed talking to people. I already enjoyed learning about people's different styles. So this gave me something to progress even further in that field. So that's why I decided, why not give it a shot?
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so I believe that you've been doing it for a very long time now.
It's about 8 years now, yeah.
8 years. Okay. So can I safely say that you are like really good at it? like you know your stuff. Like you know your thing.
I think it's one of the things where experience does help. So doing it for 8 years, it does help.
Okay, let's put it to the test, yeah? Okay. So like judging from me, like me,
Right.
like what can you tell, like based on your profiling?
Okay. So just to put into context of this whole thing, the way I do the profiling is I use the Belbin tool, right? And it basically kind of segregates people into 9 different styles. Everybody has those 9 different styles, but one of those 9, or technically 3 of those 9, usually their top 3 are more significant.
Okay.
Right? It's more pronounced, so you can really see it. So if you're asking me to do profiles, like say for you, right? I would say that firstly is that you are what I like to call a resource investigator. Somebody who's very outgoing, who loves to network, to chat with people, life of the party kind.
Okay, I am the life
Yeah.
of some parties.
Right.
We don't want to go into that.
So I mean that's what I think of you. I consider you as, but I also think that because with every strength, there also has some weaknesses. So correct me if I'm wrong. Are you also a very detailed person?
Well, depends on what type of details.
Like, could you do if accounting numbers? Are you that kind of person?
Nah, man, I hate numbers.
Right.
I hate numbers.
So you see, for me, what I found and learned from this profiling is that with every strength comes the weaknesses, and depending on what style you are, you can know your strengths and you can also work on your weaknesses. So when I mentioned that you are somebody who's networking, resourceful, loves meeting people, there's also a tendency for people like that to also be the type who doesn't quite like to handle details, right? So because of that, when I meet new people, then it's like I can help you in the sense like I can help you understand like, hey, so even though you're good at this, be aware that this could be a weakness, right? So if you're handling a business on your own, if you're your own self-employed person, you can handle the going out and networking and getting business in. But you might need to also hire somebody who's going to help you with the details, the admins, the accountings, So in that perspective, that's how profiling helps. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good. So we got like a clear idea of what you were doing before this.
More or less, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now let's come to like where we are right now.
Right.
What has changed ever since? What are you doing now?
Okay. So right now, I think it's about 3 years now. since I started this company, Inspire You Too, right? Yeah, Inspire You Too. So what basically happened was I came to the point or the stage in life where I felt, I wanted to just try something new. I've been doing the consultancy work for a bit, and I just thought there's something else that I want to try, something more that I can do. And what happened was I left that job and I took a month or rather 24-day trip to Bali on my own. And
24 days.
24 days in Bali.
To Bali, yeah. Okay, I know that trip.
Yeah.
So, crazy trip.
Crazy
24 days.
And the thing was that when people think of Bali, they think like,
Party, yeah.
clubbings and stuff. But what I did was that I actually, and of course it was accidental, but I went to look for the cheapest cheapest accommodation because, it's 24 days, right? So it was on a budget.
Yeah.
So I booked the cheapest one I could find, and I found out that when I booked it, it was actually on the far east of Bali. So it was like the Pasir Ris of Bali, all the way at the end of the island.
Shit, like the Pasir Ris of like the Jurong of
Yeah,
Bali.
the Jurong Pasir Ris of Bali. Yeah, so it was all the way at the end.
Okay.
So I was like thinking, oh shit. But as it turns out, it was exactly what I needed because for 24 days, and also the accommodation wise, it didn't have a TV. Internet was kind of weak and Netflix wasn't there. So it meant that I had to go deep down and really get to know myself for those 24 days. So that's
like
what
deep culture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's where the whole idea started coming around. And then, but I think it was for 20 days, I was struggling because like I was having a good time. I was doing the activities I wanted to do, snorkeling, climbing the mountains and all that. But then
It's not your normal holiday that anyone would go for. Like, it's more of like a accidental crazy adventure kind of thing.
Yeah. It was kind of like a quarter life crisis maybe. Yeah. So up to the 20th day, I still hadn't figured out what I wanted to do afterwards. So I was kind of scared. So I think it was on the 21st day when I decided to do scuba diving, where I ran into this fellow Singaporean. Shout out to my man Kai. Right?
Shout out Kai.
Right? So I met him, and he was a fellow Singaporean there. And on this side of Bali, there was literally hardly any Singaporeans. Right? You could meet people from other countries, but Singaporeans was almost nil. But when I went for that, when I went snorkeling initially, I went to buy an ice cream. Just so happened to I decided, because the sun was hot, I decided I want to go get an ice cream. I went to the only shop that sold ice cream on the beach. I spoke to the person, and then she was asking, "Where are you from?" I was like, "I'm from Singapore." She's like, "Oh, Singapore. Behind have Singaporean, And I was like, "Oh, there's a Singaporean." I was like, "Oh, this is it. You want to meet?" I said, "Yeah, sure."
Why not, right?
Why not?
It's really rare that you find someone from your who speaks the same language.
Exactly.
But someone who's from the same place as where you're from.
Exactly. So I was like, after 20 days of being around
Balinese.
the Balinese locals, right? I felt like, okay, somebody I can finally relate to maybe. So I went to meet him, and we started talking, and it turns out that he had his own scuba diving business over there. And from there, I just shared with him like what I'm doing here, and then I decided, I wanted to support him, so I went for a scuba diving run with him, right? And then later that, I think in the last couple of days, he and his girlfriend invited me for dinner. And as we were at that dinner, that's when he asked me, like, "So what are you planning to do after this?" And I said, I don't know. And that's when he gave me, for me, the thing that sparked this whole journey was, he told me, "Bro, it all starts with a crazy idea, and then it's totally up to you what you want to do with it, right? You have to take that first step." I think back in episode number 5 or 6, Sharifa was sharing this, was it somebody else? I can't remember, sorry. You have to take that first step, and then you have to deal with what comes after. But if you don't take that first step, nothing comes. So for me, at that point, I was looking at things that I liked doing, which was vlogging. Not vlogging, I enjoyed watching vlogging. I enjoyed talking to people. So I decided, let me start up Inspire You Too, and I see if I can come up with some inspirational videos and things that could share my message out in the world that I feel could impact or could help people. Yeah. So that is how this whole Inspire You Too began. And
okay, so I just gotta stop you there a little bit. Okay, so you keep mentioning Inspire You Too.
Right.
Okay, so first of all, what's Inspire You Too?
What's Inspire You Too?
Yes.
it's
Maybe this listeners, they want to know what Inspire You to exactly is.
right. As a company, right?
Okay.
As a company, initially it started out as still a continuation of the consulting agency that I was doing,
Okay.
the profiling and all that. But I also knew that in terms of marketing, I didn't know how to do the mass marketing, how to go out and meet clients, because I wasn't so sure, and I know I felt young in the industry, so it was hard for me to approach the bigger companies to do that. So I decided to, you know what, if that's the case, why not I try a different approach and I approach something more millennials. So that's where I decided to do some of the YouTube videos.
Okay.
I explored doing some of the YouTube vlog videos where I was sharing inspirational, motivational stuff.
Okay.
I did some cartoon drawing animation. It's all on the Inspire YouTube YouTube channel.
Check it out.
Yeah.
Inspire You to YouTube.
Yep. So
To use.
to use.
Inspire You YouTube.
Inspire you to YouTube. Yeah. So where was I?
About how you shared all this on your YouTube channel.
Right.
Yeah.
So I thought that would be a good way to market the things that I was doing. As it turns out, it wasn't quite happening for me. So it took a while, and then my expenses started to go down. So then I decided, you know what, marketing wise, it was tough. Wait, am I even answering the question? What is Inspire You?
What
to,
is Inspire You to? So
Yeah.
okay, you're actually
touch
you're
on-
actually answering like my next question already. So which is good. But just so you know, my next question was gonna be like what do you do exactly at Inspire You to? So like yeah.
Right. So aside from the consulting agency, I did the marketing, which was the videos. I realized that I wasn't doing the second part, which was giving trainings and talks.
Okay.
So eventually, the last half of last year, that's when I started, doing my actual public workshops, running public workshops. And it gave me a good taste of experience from that. So I would say that Inspire You Too has been a mix of marketing vlogs, marketing videos, and a consulting agency where I do talks, consultations. But now, it's transitioned into what I find something beautiful, which is this Deep Culture podcast.
Which I'm hosting, by the way.
Yeah,
My
which
name
is hosting.
Firdaus.
So I don't. It's a combination of the three. I feel I don't want to let go of any one of them at the moment because it's something that I am passionate
It comes as a
about.
package, lah, basically.
Right.
And you don't want to disband
Yeah.
any of it.
And some people may think like, Fali, you need to find a niche quick. You need to do something and focus on it, right? It's true, but I think I'm also at the age where it's about exploration. It's about finding what works for you and what doesn't work. There is no right way to do it. There's no wrong way to do it.
It's like you can always explore at any age
Yeah.
until you really find the thing that you really like and you want to settle down
Yeah.
on, right?
And I think now is, for me at least, the perfect time to do that because I want.
Young and single.
I was gonna go down the route of limited responsibilities.
But ladies, holla.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I think that helps play a part in the freedom that I have to try these and explore these new things. And so I think Inspire You Too basically is a component of all those three. And until I finally decide like what I really want to do, that's when I'll focus and niche down on one of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, Inspire You to, the purpose of it is to actually inspire. Is it just teens or like everyone?
I try my best to inspire everyone. I feel like it can inspire everyone. But of course, based on analytics, it seems like it's our age group, the 25 to 34s, that seems to relate most to the kind of content that I put out. So I think it's more relatable to this generation, but I do also have people sharing, the older generation sharing with me like, this is a good message, it's a good thing you're putting out there. Younger ones, I haven't quite touched. I think it's a different story targeting the younger generation.
It's a different approach. You have to.
Yeah.
Oh,
And,
okay.
like you mentioned, when I started doing this at 20, you were saying like, the younger generation is not the common thing that the generation will be doing at 20 years old.
Correct.
So the things we talk about, the life experiences we have, it may not be so
Totally
relatable
different
to them.
era.
Yeah.
Okay. So right now, you're just currently focusing and releasing podcasts. Just the podcast, right?
Yeah.
At the moment.
Yep.
Okay. So any reasons why podcasts? Yeah, I do ask the tough question.
Oh yeah, that's a tough one. I think it's really
why it could be maybe a skit in a form of skit, because now you see a lot of YouTubers are doing skits,
right.
and a lot of them are actually just doing like blogs,
Yeah.
like it's written, but why podcast? Why do you select podcast specifically as a good avenue for you?
Right. Okay, I think if I can put it down to two reasons. First is I honestly think that based on a lot of self-reflection, I honestly think that one of my so-called gifts is my ability to listen to people. I think that when I talk to people, I play the role of a listener really well. I think that I can get them to feel comfortable, to open up, to share. And it's not just for that fact, but it's also because I'm interested to find out about them. I am interested to find out about what's their background like, what's their experience like. And I think that helps them also reach a comfort level where they are also keen to open up and share. And for that very reason, it was like, I think podcast was a perfect platform that suited those, so my gift, plus also that sharing experience that goes on with people. And the second reason is because I find it more impactful. I just find it more impactful as compared to doing trainings at the moment. Yeah. And I think it has a bigger reach. Like when I'm doing trainings or coaching, it's only
Just limited to just that group that you are doing training for, right?
Right. And this one, we put it on the different social media platforms, so it has a bigger reach out there. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, so we talked about the podcast. So let's just come to the podcast. So it's called Deep Culture.
Yeah.
If you guys don't already know. Okay, so Deep Culture. Why Deep Culture, and like what's the reason behind the name?
Okay. The name.
Explain a little bit more about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I need to go back to this experience that I had when I was talking to one of my close friends a couple of years ago, I remember. And when I was talking to him, I remember him giving me this comment. He was like, Fali, every time I talk to you, it seems like I'm talking to an insurance agent. It's like everything has to be deep. Everything is like has to be proper, professional. Like, can't we have like a just casual conversation kind of thing?
Do they have deep conversations?
I don't know, man. But that was a comment.
I thought it was a philosopher who always like went into that. Okay.
Yeah,
then.
but I mean, he said it's an insurance type conversation. So that occurred to me is like, not everybody wants to have this type of conversations. So when it came to naming this podcast, I thought, this podcast is going to be catered to people who are like me in a sense. People who want to have that deeper conversation. That, it's not just about talking about surface things like what's going on in the current affairs, what's in the latest in the news, but going deeper into understand like what is the mindset. What do you think is a society? Why do you think the society is going in this way? Why do you think that somebody is going in this way? Is it because of its mindset? Is it because of its environment? And for me, that's what interests me. And so that creates a culture where everything that I talk about in this podcast has to be deep. So that's where the name Deep Culture kind of came about.
Okay. So basically, the guests that you have so far on the show, how do you go about getting the suitable guests that you feel like that is right on the show?
Well, that's a good question, man. I mean, I struggled initially with figuring out exactly like how do I get the perfect guest. It's always the perfect guest.
Yeah.
And then I realized that it's not about finding the perfect guest. It's about having people come on who are willing to share. And what happens is that from that sharing, you can create something that's beautiful. Like you can be talking to anybody, and if you angle it the right way, if you ask the right questions, it becomes a beautiful story, right? And so because of that, it led me down the path of like looking back at people like old friends, reconnecting with old friends, seeing what they're doing now, and even from there, it creates.
I believe you had like a couple of old schoolmates and classmates that you like. don't think like you have had a connection in the longest time,
Right.
right? And
Yeah.
like you're reconnecting after a super long time.
Yeah, and it's weird how it happened, but it's also like really cool because it's reconnecting with people who I knew a long time ago, and still they have done something inspiring, right, in their life journey so far, and I'm inspired by their journey. So for me, it's like on top of just probably reaching them out and then maybe having a kopitiam talk or something. Now I get to have a proper podcast with them, get to really hear their story and also share it with people out there. So they also can get inspired by it. That's why, inspire you
Inspire
too.
you too, yes.
Yeah.
Once again, hashtag. Okay, no. I mean, I think it's great because in the sense that like in a time where like a lot of people are like when when they hear about what their friends in school achieving, accomplishing right now, they just tend to rage out and get jealous. But instead of that, you are actually letting the world know that anyone can achieve anything.
Right.
And actually sharing these inspiring stories out to the public, to the world, which I think is amazing, man. Like really kudos, hats off to you for that.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah. So any future like,
Guests?
scoop like
Scoop?
we know coming onto the show.
Okay, so at the moment, yeah, I do agree. Like the pool of guests that I have seem to be people who I've had a connection with or somehow I know, right? But I do plan to eventually get into, I don't want to say celebrities, but people who are more
Megan Fox.
wow, okay, that's up there, but no, as in maybe influencers. I want to say, is that the right word? Influencers, people with more followings, because that could
Reach
also
out
help
to a bigger
audience. But it's not just that. I'm also looking for people with really inspiring stories to share. People who have really cool experiences, points of views to share. And moving forward, having higher, rather more higher status, higher following guests is one. But I'm also hoping to have more panel discussion type of podcasts.
So like you're having like more guests in the same room, and then getting them to discuss or debate on a particular topic, kind of thing.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, that's really interesting. We're really looking forward.
Yeah.
For those out there who are listening, if you have anyone in mind, totally anyone in mind at all that you would like Fadli to actually have an interview with, just write it down. Like just write it down.
Comment, there's a DM.
Yeah, or just slide into his DMs, man. Like what are you guys waiting for? Just slide into his DM.
Yeah. Thanks for the mention, bro. I forgot to do that.
Always.
Yeah.
Okay, so aside from the podcast, do you have any other future plans like that you have in store for Inspire You Too, or Deep Culture in particular?
I do. Okay, so I do this with this 10th episode. I do have. I'm implementing, or rather, starting next week, we're going to be having a Facebook group, a private Facebook group for people of the podcast community to come on. And so who will be inside is I'll be inviting the guests who I've had to come in, and for the public as well.
Discussion session.
Yeah. So we'll be engaging people in that, and then we'll be for the public followers or public members, we'll be asking you guys like, who do you guys want next? Maybe I have a couple in mind, a couple of guests in mind. So it's a poll. Who do you want next? And then I can have like also like, what's your feedback about this guest? I was also thinking of doing things like networking is another. So I right now have 9 previous guests in this show. Maybe from them you wanted to ask certain questions, but you didn't know how to contact them.
Okay.
Right. So that group will enable you to network with them as well. So if you want to pose a question to them, go ahead. But of course, it's subject to their approval as well if they want to be part of the group.
Yeah, it's like if I don't want to answer, then. Nah, but I mean, like I think they're cool. So far, like whoever you have had on the shows, like really cool people.
Yeah.
And really inspiring stories, and I think the message that they have brought across through your podcast itself is really I would say valuable. I mean, I've heard every single episode.
Are you referring to yourself? If you guys didn't already know, right?
Do I need to?
You guys didn't already know. Fidaus, it's from the 7th episode? 7th.
Somewhere along there.
Yeah, he was speaking on the interracial marriage episode,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, I'm of like one race and like my wife is the other. That's interracial marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Cool.
Okay. Thank you so much, buddy. We're really looking forward to all of your future projects, and we hope that you really shock us. Give us things that are out of the world, which I think it's possible. It's you.
Oh, wow.
Slide into his DM. Okay.
Yeah.
But we have not come to the end yet. In fact, we have just started.
Oh, okay. Wow, just
Alright.
start.
Okay, so far you guys have listened to Fadli and his stories, his background, and all that, right?
Right.
But this section is more of what else they want to find out more from you.
Oh, okay. The questions posed, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, hey, come on! I didn't ask them to post questions, man. Like, okay, so
Sure.
so I've got a couple of questions here with me,
Right.
right?
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you these questions, and yeah, just do your thing.
I'll do my best.
Okay, so first up. Okay, first up is from Sufi Adli _Sufi Adli.
All right.
Okay, so he asked you, what do you think of the saying "customer is always right"?
Ooh. Ooh.
By the way, that's a really good question. Like, we gotta have some controversy on the show, man.
Yeah. Okay. Customer's always right. I think personally, I've seen people who just have a go at customer service like it's their life responsibility, like to just whack customer service for no reason.
Okay, before that,
Yeah.
do you have your own experiences with customers?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, maybe tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, sure. For me personally, I'm the kind who is service oriented. So I'm the type who will do my best to cater to what you need, right? And I won't focus so much on what on my own personal needs, but more so on what you need as a customer, right? So I also find that it's tough because sometimes being too catering too much to the customer, it empowers the customer to the point where they can start to push you around, start to make demands that are out of this world.
Okay.
So in terms of the question, it's like, where do you draw the line between customer being right and customer, not say abusing, but being over,
Like crossing the line.
Yeah, crossing the line.
Yeah.
And I think it's also really down to what service industry you're in.
Okay. So basically, it's to each individual's discrepancy, right? Like, as in, like, it doesn't matter what the customer is doing, but it's up to you as to how much you want to be customer oriented towards that person.
I think again it goes back to which service industry you're in. Like, if you are your own boss, you are this is your own company, then yeah, it's down to your own discrepancy, like how much you want to offer to your customers and how much you want to hold back. But if you're talking maybe in terms of food service, you're working in a restaurant, generally, yeah, the customer is right because they are ordering the food, they're paying for the food. Where I see customers crossing the line is when they start shouting at the waiters, even though the waiters are doing their best to help you, or the chef is doing your best. Like, they are humans too, right? They are gonna make mistakes, and so for me, it's like, you as a human, you want to treat other humans with respect.
Yeah, definitely. That's the first
Law.
law.
Yeah.
It's important, lah. I mean, it's important because you give respect to take respect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I just feel like, but then I also know people who just they exist to have a go at service people. Like, even if it's just Singtel, go have a blast. Like, hey, why is my bill? Blah 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 blah.
Okay. So that, with that being said, I'm pretty sure you would have heard of the saying, "Can I speak to your manager?"
Yeah.
Right? What do you think of that? Like, what do you do? Have you been put in that situation?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's tough to handle, but I think when you're in this service industry, you have to lower your ego. So when it comes to that point where, can I speak to your manager? If they request it, you can't say like, no, you're speaking to me. Why you need to speak to my manager, That's your ego starting to come out. You just got to handle it with care and then pass it on to your manager, because at that point, it's really almost out of your hands.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's true. So basically, it's a matter of like just putting your ego aside.
Ego is it's a tough thing in the service industry.
Yeah, you can't have ego and be customer service oriented at the same time.
That's why I'm not I thought I wanted to be an air steward, but I don't think I have the patience for that.
It's not easy. It's definitely not easy. Being customer service oriented, because it takes a lot of patience.
Right. Exactly.
So
that's my take on customer being always right. I think you need to draw the line as a service provider, and the customers also need to draw the line as a customer.
So customer is sometimes right.
Depends on the service.
Okay, all right, fine. We'll finish with that question. Right? Okay, thank you so much, Sufi Ali. Okay, next up we have a question from. It's from pocket of _love. OLG saga. Speaking about controversy, right?
OLG, okay, let's go, right? OLG is okay, let's go, I'm assuming.
What about the recent OLG? But for those who are listening out there, OLG basically stands for okay, let's go.
Right.
There are also this another group of people who do podcasts. Recently going through some controversy and all that. So pocket full of _love has asked you to speak your thoughts on the recent OLG saga.
Sheesh.
Sheesh.
Okay, off the top of my head, right? I think to be honest, I don't really follow them. My friends do follow them, so I have heard bits and pieces of their podcasts. What I have to say that I think sheesh. This is tough. Okay, what I can say is
that's what we do, deep culture. That's the tough questions, man.
What I can say is I kind of saw it coming. Right from the off, when I started hearing their podcast, I already saw it coming. Okay,
so we heard one of two of their episodes.
Right. Bits and pieces of their episodes, but the manner in which they speak, what I realized was, yes, it's funny, yes, it's entertaining, but sometimes it's also at the, what's that word? At the, what of others? What was that word? Detriment of others.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, they're making fun of
of
the other party, right? And for me, I know that being entertaining, being funny in that way, and you doing that consistently can get you to fame fast. But at some point, I also know that you are going to make a mistake, because everybody makes a mistake. And if you go down that path and you make a mistake making fun of something that's very sensitive at the moment, whether it's gender, whether it's LGBTQ, whether it's about politics,
sensitive topics,
that can be really, really a big detriment.
So it's like a backlash on like their podcasts, viewers and all that.
Yeah, I think what happened was, and listening to it, it was funny, because even listening to it, sometimes I felt like, this is funny. This is just normal talk. Like, I don't see what's wrong sometimes, But then I realized that what's going on is that this is actually locker room talk. It's talks that goes on.
Locker room talk,
yeah. Okay. Like, between friends and all that. But for example, if you're talking about a girl, you don't talk about the girl in front of them. Like, if you're chasing a girl, right, you don't say, hey bro, this one baik pe,
Yeah.
Right?
That's like the inner mudroom coming out, man. Yeah.
Baik pe, this one. You don't do that. And for me also,
it's just not respectful. Is what do you mean? Yeah.
And if you're gonna justify that it's okay to talk about it like that, imagine if you yourself talk about your daughter in that way, right? Or somebody talks about your daughter in that way. Like, you wouldn't want somebody to talk about your daughter that way. So how can you, as a man, also want to do it to others? So I think what happened was, initially locker room talk was normal. Everybody goes through that locker room talk. But the difference now is that they're putting it on air. They're putting it out there in the public. And initially, when it reaches the public, what happens is you always attract the people who can relate to you, who are similar to you, right? So that expands to that group of people. But once that group expands even more, they start to reach out to people who are not quite relatable to you, who don't quite understand where you're coming from, the type of topics that you want to share. That's when they start to question what exactly you're doing. And I think that's where the backlash started. It's when the people outside who aren't really relatable to them started to view their content and say, hey, that's not right. Because the people who followed them initially, they are still defending them, saying like, hey, that's okay, bro.
Yeah, because I mean, I believe that there's also a group of, like, on one hand, we have people who are against it.
Right.
They want to boycott the podcast. But on the other hand, what I understand is that there's also a group of people who are defending them in the sense that saying that they are sticking to how they started out their podcast, which is by keeping it real. Like they're not keeping any censorship and things like that. Like they're just keeping it real, and they just that's the thing that's unique about them.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, how is that? Like, or comparing both sides, what would you say?
I would think that, it's... I honestly believe that these guys are nice guys, right? I don't think that they are I don't know them personally, but I think that they are nice guys. And I respect them for what they've done. To be able to be at the top of the podcast charts, that's crazy amazing, right? But, I just think there has to be a line to be drawn. The
line has to be drawn.
Yeah, you have to know that you are being responsible for the content you put out as content creators, right? You are now number one on the podcast chart, so you have the responsibility of
passing out a message, which is
And the thing is, they've been having even ministers come on lately, right? And ministers and big time influencers and all that. My question is also, like, in the first place, do they even check the type of content that OK Let's Go was going before they even put their face on it? Because now even the MPs are also being associated with OK Let's Go, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm not saying that they are bad. I'm not saying that their content is not good. I think it's wonderful what they've done. It's just a line to be drawn, a lesson to be learned, and that's it. Moving forward, how do they progress? I'm eager to see how they progress because I'm a fan of what they've done and created, and I hope that they do well.
Yeah, actually, that was going to be my next question. Like, how do you think they can move forward from there? Which you have clearly you have put out very nicely.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on. Thank you so much, pocket full of _love for that question. Gotta have some controversy going. I mean,
sure.
I mean, like, what it takes to be number one. Okay, next up, we have a question from Putri.mini. Okay, with she has asked you, what do you do when you are feeling down or have any worries?
I can only share what works for me. I can't share a general
okay, fair enough.
Solution for everyone.
Fair enough.
For me, just at the turn of the year, something big happened and impacted me and my family. So that was a rough time for me. And how I managed to get through that was I put it down to 3 things. Exercising was one. Eating the right food was one. And also the environment you're in and what you listen to. So I know it's very corny, it's very generic, but what I mean to say is when you're feeling down, it's important to look at your well-being. Are you keeping fit? Could it be because you're not feeling great because you're not exercising? Could it be that the people around you are the ones who are pulling you down? They are always saying, you can't do this, you can't do that, you're not smart, you're dumb, That could be the environment. Or it could be things like, what else was I saying?
Like exercise, keeping your eating the right food,
and
also your environment.
Yeah. So eating the right food is also nothing. Like it could be and I'm serious. I mean, like I said, it worked for me. But when I was eating fast food every day, it did have a detrimental effect on me. Like I was feeling lethargic, I was feeling tired, But the moment you start to cook healthy food, you start to eat the healthy food, home cooked food at least, then there's a change in the way you live day to day. So I think that helps shift your perception when you're in a bad state to try to move forward. Because if you're going to be, this is one of the best lines I heard, nothing changes if nothing changes.
Okay.
Right?
Okay, that's interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
explain it.
Okay. So if you think about it, it sounds very casual. Nothing changes if nothing changes. Yeah. But basically, if you're in a rut, if you're stuck, if you're in a dark place right now, and you keep doing the same things that you're already doing, how are you supposed to get out of that dark place? The only way for you to get out of that dark place is for you to change something. Right? Whether it's your mindset, whether it's your exercise, your exercising habits, your
habits,
food,
your daily habits.
yeah, the environment you're in, friends.
Okay.
Some maybe you have to let go, some you have to take new ones.
Mm-hmm.
But something has to change for you to change the environment, that situation that you're in. Right? So as long as nothing changes, nothing will change. It's the same like I think was it Einstein who said insanity is doing the same thing 1,000 times and expecting a different result. You can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
You have to change something in order for you to get something out, something different.
Okay, but okay, like with that in mind, like when they say change, so basically change is something that is something that everyone can do. Is that what you are trying to say?
If they're willing to put in the effort, yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. Couldn't have
Change is a choice.
yeah.
Change is a choice, guys.
couldn't have said it better than you.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, as Fadli have said, nothing changes
If nothing changes.
if nothing changes.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Putri, for that question. All right, next one. Next one will be from MFBMI. What's up with these initials? By the way, I know who you are. All right, so MFBMI has asked you, what is the biggest fact since young?
Because what? Because
Oh, sorry, I have been reading that wrongly. My bad.
What is the biggest what?
Let me repeat that. Let me repeat that to you, Fali. Okay. What is what is the biggest factor? Now it makes more sense. What is the biggest factor that has always kept you going in life since young? Maybe before you answer that question, maybe you wanna just very briefly tell us how things were for you when you were younger, and then maybe you can tell us that biggest factor that has pushed you since then.
right.
A little background of your young self.
Sure. I think to answer that question, I can only begin where I first started delving into self-reflection, which for me began when I was, I think, 18 years old. So what happened was, after secondary school, my parents wanted me to go into junior college. So the end goal for me and my sister, the way we were raised, was always to go into university. That was the end goal. You have to get there, otherwise it's a disappointment. And so what happened was I decided to take to heed their words, and instead of trying and searching for something that I liked, maybe in Polytechnic where all my friends were going, I decided to go to junior college and pursue floorball. So what I found in junior college was that I couldn't cope with the studies, but what I could cope with was the CCA floorball. And I kind of flourished in that area, like doing well in the sport. But it took my focus off studies. And as a result, at the end of 2 years, I got released from that school. And I remember it was at that point of time when I remember it was on Hari Raya. And it was during the same period of time. My parents were so disappointed in me. And we had to cut short our Hari Raya visiting. On the first day of Hari Raya visiting.
Was that when they know about it? Or
yeah, when they knew about it.
Or on Hari Raya itself?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, they knew a couple of days or a week before that.
But that was brought all the way.
That was brought all the way to Hari Raya.
Okay.
And on Hari Raya, we have to ask for forgiveness, right?
Yeah.
So it was tough for me itself to ask for forgiveness from them because they were really majorly disappointed with me. But then I remember that on that first day, we had to cut our visiting short because my parents wanted to go home to discuss about what I could do next
Your
for
next
my
step.
future. Yeah.
Okay.
And then we had an argument because it was finally the only day where I could meet up with my cousins and feel free of, the disappointment that they were pushing towards me.
Stress free and all
Yeah,
that.
stress free and all that, and enjoying myself. So I argued with them. And then I remember my dad just suddenly turned to me and he was like, Fadli, you know what? You're a disappointment. And he just turned away.
Okay.
Shit. So from that moment on, I think it's been what has pushed me through is the fact that I'm afraid to fail. I know it's something that needs to be worked on. I'm trying my best to work on, but that fear of failure is what's pushing me for perfection. It's what's pushing me to be something, to make the most out of my life. It's not the best motivator, I would admit, but it is one of the biggest motivators for me. But it's also something where I feel I need to break out of in order to be healthy, Yeah.
Mentally be there
Yeah.
for yourself, like, because if not, who else is, right? Gonna be there.
Yeah. So the question is, how do I...
What is the biggest factor?
What is the biggest factor that...
Yeah.
Fear of failure, I think, would probably be one. Yeah. That's one of the biggest. But also, I think, because fear has been such a big part of my life, the other biggest factor is breaking free. Where I just want to do what I want to do,
Yeah, that's right. And not worry about failure at all. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I think, if given a choice, a lot of people, or most people, would rather feel. Like, they just wish that failure was not around so that they can just do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And they can at least know the experience of it.
Yeah.
To settle down on something.
Yeah.
But it's like fear failure. I think it's true in a sense that you got to go through failure to know the worth of success.
Yes.
Because if you keep succeeding, you will not know what's the worth of it.
Yeah.
Like, you got to feel failure at least once or twice. Feel it, and then eventually when you succeed, you just enjoy the fruits of your labor.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, damn, it feels like I'm interviewing Shah Rukh Khan, man. Like, he had the same or like one similar interview on how he copes with failures, like
Right.
Fali
But
Khan.
I'm not the Shah Rukh Khan here. I mean, you are technically.
Okay, all right. Okay, so that was actually very valuable advice. But he has another question yet.
Okay, one more.
Okay, so I think this MFBMI is a young punk. So his next question is, if you could only give one advice to all youths, what would it be? Shows that it's clearly young, man. Sheesh. Okay, to maybe better word that,
Right.
if let's say you can pass a message to your, this guy is probably 21 years old. So like, if you
let's just be clear, guys. This guy is basically his younger brother. Just in case you guys think he's a punk for calling someone else a punk.
Yeah. No, okay. But I mean, let's say if you can like go back in time to maybe pass a message to your 21-year-old self.
Right.
What would it be?
Love yourself is first. Be proud of who you are. Be proud of who you are. It's okay with uncertainty, and just love life and live life. I think that's the biggest thing for me personally, because it's like if so much of my life has been based around fear, it's tough to feel that self-love, because it's like I'm waiting for others to find appreciation for me.
It's like leaving it to others to give you validation.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So self-love is important, and then just live life, love life. Like, people have expectations of you, but it's up to you. It's down to you what you want to do. So enjoy it.
So you heard that, youths?
Yep.
You heard that, bro? Live life, love life. That could be like a motto for like a new radio station. Like, live life, love life. Fadli.fm.
Or maybe there's the evolution of deep culture.
You never know, man. You never know. Keep working. Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, so moving on. Okay, next up will be from Sufyan Suhaimi. Okay, he has his question to you will be the more of like what are the various impacts of COVID-19 in Singapore? Current issue, current affairs.
Right. Various impacts of COVID-19 on Singapore.
Maybe how has it affected you? How has it affected people who are close to you, people around you?
I think there's so many levels of how it affected us. Like I think you probably have a different experience than how I.
Right.
Because for me, at least, like I mentioned, I started during the circuit breaker period. I started working, which was previously I wasn't working, and then when I started working,
and on the other hand, someone else lost his or her job.
Right.
Yeah. So it's
and everybody started not working or working from home. So it's kind of like I have a different perspective of how COVID-19 happened. But I would say that one of the biggest things I noticed about what happened for circuit breaker and also in work in the same time as Ramadan was that for the first time, I think a lot of the Malay families actually managed to spend every breakfast with their families.
Yes. Tell me about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's they even managed to like just spend fasting.
Yeah.
Entire 30 days at home.
With their families, yeah.
You don't get that every year.
So it's really something. I mean, it's one of the things where you don't really hear about, but I realized that as I was like, because I wasn't able to sometimes because of the work, right?
Okay.
So I was thinking like,
I did. I spent like all 30 days at home. So it's like it's new because in the past it's like I can't make it in time, man. I'm just gonna break fast here in office and then just go back home.
Yeah,
that kind of.
We go out and break fast with friends. Like,
or colleagues or things like that.
Yeah. So I think that was one of the special impacts of it, being a Muslim basically. I think also how it's going to impact, however, in the employment sector is that people are going to start asking for working from home. Because
it has become a norm.
Yeah. After 30 days, it takes 30 days to make a habit. So if they've already started to develop that habit, I don't see... And the fact that businesses are still running, I'm not saying that all businesses are going to be...
It's possible for them to work from home, but...
As long as the possibility is there, people are going to try and work towards that. So I think that's something that might change the landscape of Singapore's businesses as well.
Okay. I mean, now that you brought up like fasting, right, during the COVID-19 period, maybe a little bit more that you can touch on would be how it had also impacted Hari Raya this year, because there was a bit of issue over there about Hari Raya being celebrated in COVID-19.
What's the issue actually?
Oh my gosh! Now you know why I'm asking the questions, right?
Enlighten me, bro.
like the fact that like we couldn't go visiting,
right?
And you just had to like, I mean, it's a whole experience. I know. How did you celebrate Hari Raya this year?
Yes, Zoom.
They call it the Zoom Raya this year. So I mean, like a little bit on that.
Yeah, it was definitely different. I remember so for my family, what happened was, I think it was 12 to 1 p.m. was one side of the family, the whole family Zooming, and then from 1 to 2 p.m. was the other side of the family, my dad's side.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, but I remember it was funny because for the rest of the day, it was empty.
I mean, you don't have the usual noise, like small kids make, or like your, I don't know, family members like ask you, what are you doing now in life? That kind of
the magic questions.
When are you gonna get married?
Right.
By the way, he's not married. He's not married. So it's different. It's definitely different. But do you think that in the future, this will carry on as a new trend?
Nah, I don't see it being a trend, because I think what is strong in the Malay Muslim community and culture is that we love meeting up with family. Yeah, we are more people oriented. We are more socially oriented, I feel, in a sense. I'm not saying as compared to others, but we are very socially oriented culture. So I don't think people are gonna
Become a
stop.
trend.
Yeah.
Well, I can speak for the rest when I say that I think all Muslims feel that way lah. Basically, like when it comes to Hari Raya, there is no such thing as a Hari Raya when you don't leave your house or you don't have visitors at home. So yeah, I guess it's true.
Yep.
So yeah, hopefully it does. Things get better and we could probably do like a post Hari Raya visiting.
I mean, now that phase 2 has begun, I think people have already started visiting one another. So
Yeah. So that's good. That's good. Like, you know, it makes things a lot more better.
Yeah. And it's something different, which is, I mean, it wasn't like, I mean, it was tough, but you know, it didn't really have a big detrimental kind of impact. Like, it's not because of that you lost family or you lost friends. Kind of thing, you know. So I think it's just a change, and you can adapt to
like
it.
Even if you want to give ang paos, PayNow is available.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
All right. Very well put.
Thank you.
Okay. For my last question, of course, it's from yours truly, right? Who else but me? Okay. So for my question to you, okay, Fali, is that what type of obstacles have you come across, and in your journey so far, like from the time that you started schooling all the way till the time now, okay, and how did you overcome these obstacles? Okay, maybe not all your obstacles. Maybe what is your biggest obstacle?
Biggest obstacle, I think still the biggest obstacle for me is having to find that independence of relying on myself. I think if you ask me that question, really, my answer would be...
I'm asking you for real.
Yeah. I'm putting my thoughts together. Right?
My bad.
How I really got through it, I would say, had a large, what is that word?
Big Mac?
Not big. No, has a large impact or role from the people around me.
Okay.
Like, I think the solid core of people who I have around me
in a way
really
that pushed you to your
really helped
goals.
me to, during my down times, they were there for me. And even during the times when I was, you're one of them.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so I think having that support system, that pillar of support, really, really helped in the sense, like, for someone who is struggling with self-love and independence, relying on independence, to be able to get that support when you need it from the core people around you, that really, really helped me move forward. And it still does. I think I rely less on them now. I think I'm a little bit more mature, a little bit more independent. But it's still always nice to have my core pool of people being there supporting me.
So it's like your, can I say it's like your number one fans?
Yeah.
Okay. Well. I mean, he did like what Fadli did say. Live life, love life, right?
Love life.
Yeah,
Live,
Fadli.fm. Okay, that's interesting. All right. Okay, so Ken, all right. We've come to the end of the question section.
Wonderful.
How do you feel so far?
I think I did okay.
Nah, man, I think you did. Yeah, you did okay. You did great. You did amazing.
Thanks, man. I think also I just wanted to share the reason why for this 10th episode I'm reversing the roles as well is because I wanted to also figure out what it's like as a guest, right? So the last 9 episodes have been me interviewing other people, getting them to share their stories. But for me on this, it's a different thing because I want to know what are the challenges a guest feels like.
What do you go through? Like, what do you feel?
Now,
yeah, as a guest, like, how is it like sitting on the chair?
It's kind of nerve-wracking having to think of what to say and whether you're saying it correctly, whether you're sounding dumb. So I see the challenge. But I think it also helped that at least I know you. So my next challenge would be, when I interview people who I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that by doing this as well, if I were to approach guests who I don't know, watching this video, they'll have a rough idea of who I am, what I'm doing, why I'm doing this, and they can have...
Like, who the hell is even interviewing them?
Right.
I mean, not me. Him.
But, but so they have a certain comfort level in terms of how much they know about me and who I am. Yeah.
That's true. So
Yeah.
safe to say that you learned a lot being a guest.
Definitely, it's been one hell of an experience.
Well, I learned a lot being a host for a podcast today. I mean, it's not easy asking questions.
Yeah, and having to listen, right?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely not easy. It's a challenge, especially when you're starting up and you don't really know what the other person is going to say, especially when it's not scripted at all, guys. Okay, this is like unscripted. Like, maybe I just had the questions here, but like
unscripted.
It's unscripted.
Unscripted.
Okay, but and you don't really know what to expect. So, like, in that sense, I say you've been doing an amazing job as a host, man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
And I kudos to you. I really hope your Deep Culture podcast really goes far, and I want to hear more episodes. Of it. Yeah.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. And I think for me also, a big kudos to you. I think you did a great job.
Thank you.
As a host. Social distancing.
So
Yeah.
Halal. Keep it halal.
Yeah, I think you really did a great job. I think you have it in you to be a host, man. Let us know if you guys think that you want him back as a co-host. Yeah, because that's something that I'm looking into when it comes to, like, the panel discussions and all that. So let me know if you did a good job.
Let me know. Let me know if you just want me to do extra job, guys. I mean, like, just
or if you don't want him anymore.
No, but I enjoy. To be honest, I really enjoy myself on the show. Like, it's fun. It's fun. Like, you get to know more about that person.
Right.
And I think it'd be even more fun if you get people that you don't know, because you're like getting to know a totally brand new person and like get to know
discovering
who they are,
right?
and who they are, and the messages, like, especially on Deep Culture, when you pass messages like this across, it's just amazing. Amazing, I would say. Okay, before we end the podcast over here, any last words, last messages that you wanna tell up to the viewers out there?
Wow, I think I felt like
that's always the hardest part, bro. I mean, that's always the hardest part. It's not answering the questions.
A lot of messages.
But it's always like how you want to end it off.
Right. I think going back to the line, live life, love life. Like, really, really, there's no point in trying to sustain yourself if you're not enjoying yourself. I feel like
that's true.
Life is. True. You don't know, like, I mean, it's cliche to say, like, you don't know when you're gonna go. You don't know if tomorrow is coming, right? Today may be your last day, so on and so forth. But when you're doing something you love, something you're enjoying, and with the people that you love and enjoy, I can't quite describe it, but it's worth it.
That's like a whole bromance tension going on here, man. You have no idea. Okay, but I mean, well, very well said, buddy. I mean, I can't.
So yeah,
I
guess the message would be, to answer your question, because I didn't answer your question. The message would be, go out there and search for something that you're passionate about. I came up with this equation. I feel that people need to have a fulfilling life. I just can't remember it right now. It was something like, you need stability.
Thank God this is not life. Okay, right. But what is it?
You need stability.
Okay.
Right.
Stability
is one, which comes in the form of whether you have a partner with you, you need income, right? Something in your life where you have that base to come to. You need what is the acknowledgement, right? So even though you may be super self-reliant and you don't rely on others and all that, you still do need some form of acknowledgement for what you're doing. Support, yeah.
Okay.
I think, and the environment, that's important. And the last thing is what I feel, a project. A project.
Something to work on.
Because we are creatures of habit, and if you just rely on stability and acknowledgement, That's all you'll be doing, and you won't feel like you're growing. You won't feel like there's anything new for you out there. But if you are working on a project, that project is going to push you out of your comfort zone. That's where uncertainty comes in. That's where the growth comes in. And that's where,
improve yourself and you perfect your art.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah. Perfect your art. Anything that you want to do. And I'm not saying that the project should be your job. It would be good if it was your job. But stability can be where your income comes.
It works for even if it's a passion or a hobby or even something you do in your free time.
Right. Because that's where you get to break free. It's not something that's always there, that's always happening. You're doing something different. And I think that's where the fulfillment in life comes from. Yeah. So that's my message in a nutshell. If it was a nutshell.
Okay. Okay, that was very well said. Very well said. I mean, I can't think of anyone else better to put that message out to you guys. Once again, thank you so much, Fadli. Thank you so much for having me on the show. To put me in a role which I have not done before, obviously, and giving me the opportunity to get to know you more as a bro, as someone who's close to me like since young. I think the listeners out there would also have definitely know a lot more details about you,
right.
Juicy stuff, etc., etc. Okay. If let's say you want to hear more about Fadli, if you have any more questions, just feel free to slide into his DMs. Okay, slide into his DMs, and then just go ahead.
Yeah.
Just ask him anything.
Follow
Life
us on
advices,
social media profiles as well. Right. Follow us on the respective social media profiles. So like you got Facebook, you got Instagram,
so and like
don't just slide into the DMs.
Yeah, YouTube and Spotify. His episodes are also on Spotify. For those of you who don't YouTube, you can. So Spotify, yeah. Okay, so until the next episode, thank you very much for those who have been watching and listening, and we will see you again very soon.
He closed it up for me. See you guys on the next episode of the Deep Culture
Podcast.
Podcast.